Hey, all my Gemini friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your February 2024 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology in the Pacific time zone. The chart I like to use is Placidus, but when I'm referring to the house structure, this is based on Gemini rising and again, whole sign Western astrology. This is also applicable to Gemini moon, Gemini suns, as well as if you have a stellium in Gemini, that would be 3 or more personal planets in the house of Gemini. If you don't know that information, you might want to go to one of the free birth calculators on the internet. You just need your exact time of birth and location in order to determine that information. So let's jump right in to the first day of February. First, I want to mention that this February 2024 is a leap year. So that is different than usual. And we start off really with seeing Pluto here at 0 degrees of Aquarius. This dynamic here is Aquarius is your 9th house of beliefs, of expansion, of business and commerce and branding, publishing, marketing. And I think that's what we're talking about here. And I think Pluto's re-entry at this 0 degree is giving you an opportunity to look at how you are actually feeling. There's the square to the moon. This takes place for much of that first day of February. And I think it's an opportunity to really reflect on what's important to you in your contractual professional relationships. We see the moon is in the 6th house here, which is naturally ruled by Mercury, your ruler of your chart. We also see the ruler of your chart, Mercury, at 24 degrees of Capricorn. This is very much what I'm going to be thinking practically about what's important to me. And Mars's conjunction is about, Mars is exalted in Capricorn, meaning it's in its 2nd highest vibration of influence in Capricorn. So here, this is brave thought that offers transformation, but may tug at your heartstrings a bit or your emotional body because it's requiring you to think outside the box, to push on the boundaries of what you have experienced up until now. Pisces is your 10th house, we can see here in the chart. And so I think this is very much in regards to how you make money, your everyday activities, whatever, however you are perceived in the public eye, AKA your career. I also want to go, next I'm going to go to the 5th, when Mercury will enter Capricorn. Let me just sneak over here. Okay, so now what we're seeing is a conjunction with Pluto. And I think that this is very significant because this is this really thinking transformationally, thinking outside the box, thinking, where is my emotional imprint that has inadvertently stuck me in a position where I didn't think I had choices? I don't believe karma is actually physical action, but rather the choices that we make that lead to our physical action. And oftentimes, AKA, karma choices are based on fear, on what we can see with our eyes, smell with our nose, taste with our mouth. And we're being called upon in this Plutonian energy entering Aquarius to think outside, not only outside the box, but, it rules space, it rules technology and innovation. So this is an innovative opportunity for you to think a little bit deeper about where have I inadvertently clipped my mercurial wings. I think this is super, super powerful, and also an opportunity to capitalize on your planet's retrograde that took place at the end of 2023. Okay, now let's go on to, there's a new moon on the 9th. And that new moon will happen at 2:59 p.m. Let me get over here, pardon me. 2:59 p.m. Pacific time. And I think this is significant because we have been experiencing new moons at the 20th degree. Now, this 20th degree is the Scorpion degree. It is the degree of the deepest psychological imprint that either empowers me or disempowers me. And we've seen Pluto is still at 0 degrees, just pushing on this energy. We see Mars here at 27 degrees starting to make a conjunction. This is really going to push on wanting to be liberated from wherever you have felt restricted, wherever you have felt boxed in, when you have been considering even potentially more the rules, the regulations, what's been required of you versus your own personal happiness. Aquarius rules our hopes and dreams, but they are hopes and dreams that are nurtured over time so that once the reward is manifest, it has staying power. It has the endurance that Saturn offers, co-ruling Aquarius. So I think this is super powerful for setting intentions, for allowing yourself to not try to release anything or reconcile it or drop down on a side, a fence, but rather use it as a building block. I think this is really powerful. Now we're going to see here on the 13th. Get back to 12 p.m. just to keep it sort of consistent. Now we see Mars's conjunction to Pluto here in Aquarius. This is a significant energy. Both planets can be very destructive. Pluto rules criminal behavior. Mars rules, war. And here, I think this is really more in my mind, because now I feel like this 4-degree orb to Venus and how I make my money, in what my value is to myself outside, how I'm building my own world. When I see Venus in Capricorn, I'm not responding to beauty. I'm not responding even to luxury, but rather sustainability. What can Venus create and build upon that will be seen in the outside world and also give me a sense of comfort and moving forward? And that's that 26th degree is it is the Venusian degree. So we've got this Taurus Venusian degree, 26 degrees, Venus's energy naturally ruling the Taurus energy, and Taurus being a complementary energy to the Capricorn energy. What can I build with my skills? That's why I bring up the Taurus degree. And now there's an opportunity for revolution. And I think that Mars's transit through your first house during 2022 and early 2023 was bringing an awareness to Mars on how to interact more strategically and as a peaceful warrior, an inspirer, sharing passion in its innovation. Mars is a pioneer. So here in Aquarius, it has a strong energy. And this is a strong energy for revolution to your own psychological imprint. So I think this is so powerful. And this Venus is growing in conjunction with this point. And here we also see Mercury, your ruling planet, making a favorable aspect to your individuality. Here's the North Node in Aries, exact conjunction to Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer, as that's the name. But how I think of Chiron is the wound brings a focus that allows a transformation that actually helps start to create the tool to forge the knife to cut through the BS. And here we're seeing these these points, I should say, in the 11th house that naturally is ruled by Aquarius. So I think that there is going to be more thought and review about how am I actually nurturing my own hopes and dreams, and have I even given any thought to them or any real time and attention to them? Because this 16th degree is the Cancerian degree, and that's the degree of nurturing. Cancer rules many things. It rules intuition, but how are you nurturing yourself? That's what I want to say when it's in Aries. And here we see right now on this particular day, the 13th of February, we see Mars at the 13th degree, which is an Arian degree. It's a degree of being a bit more aware of my warrior energy. And now how will I use that energy to actually serve versus be destructive? So I think that's super important. Our next day is the 16th, when Venus will make her entry. Let me click off of Mercury real quick. Venus will make her entry into Aquarius. Now this is a dynamic time because Venus rules money. Venus rules our self-worth, our beauty, our talents, our skills, our partnerships. Pluto rules other people's money, and Mars, co-ruler of Scorpio, complementary in many ways, although a little scary, can be destructive on an unconscious level, can be extremely heroic on a conscious level, because Mars is also conjunct these two planets. And Mars is at the Venusian degree of Taurus again. So this is very much about money to me. And we could potentially see on the world stage some things going on with, let's say, Bitcoin, or how people make money via technology. We could even potentially see new technologies being birthed. But at the same time, there is this, where was I going with this? This trine to the moon doesn't feel quite powerful to me because the moon moves very quickly. So during the mid part of the day, you could find yourself feeling very confident about what the things you want, and even being able to imagine them, because we see the moon going through what is technically the 12th house here. But what I also want to say is that within every world stage, there are individual pockets of people that seem to defy the odds. And I think that's a little bit about what's going on here as well. To be able to put in my mind thoughts that when I connect to the divine laws of the universe, laws that are bigger than this earthly experience, that stretch out into the cosmos, I am connecting with energies that can transform my experience and then represent for humanity. Because again, here's Mercury really going through this sign this time, thinking a little bit more succinctly about how to connect to divine information. I feel like Mercury's last transit over this in December, your ruling planet went over the galactic center 3 times, maybe late November as well. I'd have to check the dates on that, but there were downloads, there was information that was being provided to you at that time that would support the transformation that's starting to birth itself in the year 2024. Okay. And I also think that there is an aspect of unpredictability here. You know, Uranus naturally rules this house of Aquarius, and this whatever this conjunction may bring out on the world stage, something that doesn't necessarily have to do with you personally, it could illuminate a path that was not there before. And I want to offer it this way. I'm a mature woman, and for most of my youth, there was no internet. So I could not produce videos and offer myself on a world stage until technology had caught up. So there you could find that technology has a lot to do with your forward movement. Okay, now let's go 2 days later. We have the sun entering Pisces and approaching its I think it happens a little later in the day. Let's try 5 p.m. Oops. Okay. Let's try 9 p.m. I should have put these times down. All right, there we go. On the 18th, we see here, and later in the evening, the sun approaching its sojourn through Pisces and a visit with Saturn. And I think this is very powerful because while this is not a tight conjunction, I think that whatever has been garnished, the epiphanies, the lightning ideas that come here, now we're starting to think about how we can shine our personal light into our own personal creativity. The Pisces naturally rules imagination, compassion, in many ways self-sacrifice. It's very dreamy and empathetic. It's also very impressionable and gullible. Flights of fantasy, illusion versus delusion. It has a little bit of a secretive nature because Pisces wants to please other people. So before it will expose itself, it needs to know what the landscape is. It's very spiritual, but it can also, when it's been when the world becomes too harsh, Pisces can very much want to escape. So here for Gemini, as we're approaching this Sun and Saturn conjunction, I think this is about allowing yourself the privilege of trusting that you can put the structure into the things that you can create. Also, that your fears will have served you at some point, meaning this. When we overcome a fear, we become stronger and more trusting when we have another hill to climb. And if we achieve our goals and our dreams with no efforting, no doubt, and just a smooth sailing, I think when we get where we're going, it feels more frightening because there was nothing there to provide emotional resources to trust the journey of challenge. So I think that this is a really powerful time as Saturn and the Sun start to have this conversation about my willingness to transform my fears. And on the 23rd, we will see, let me get there. Now we have Mercury entering Pisces. I'm going to go back to 12 o'clock. Just like to keep that because it's kind of even. Now, this is an interesting time. Mercury is now moving into Pisces, joining this conversation. Very much feels like this, for those that are standing in awareness, it feels as if the square and a half to the south node that we see here represents the awareness, and yet knowing that I'm going to have to walk through what feels like a very challenging dynamic in my relationships with other people. Will they understand as I start to take care of myself, Gemini, because of what I've been dreaming and wanting to experience in my 10th house of career, of the public eye. And there is also this aspect of this exact conjunction of of Mars and Venus at the transformational 8th degree of Scorpio. So this plays off and capitalizes on this Plutonian energy and conjunction that they've been having since the month started. And this is where I think when we're standing in awareness, the word consciousness kind of freaks me out because it feels so lofty out there somewhere, like I'm elevated. The word awareness feels neutral to me. Like I'm not really judging anything as good or bad. It's again, just a point of reference that gives me information to move forward. So that's what I think that this conjunction, I also think that this conjunction could potentially be about, again, Scorpio rules money. So there could be something going on about renovating how you're making your money. And part of that may be that you can't actually see, let's say you took a job on commission, or you started your own thing, or you got a side hustle and started on the internet. You may not have a predictable source of income, but your alignment to your outcome will help support that endeavor. But it feels a little challenging at first because as I click here on Mars, we see this square to Jupiter that's now at 10 degrees Capricorn. It's in Taurus at the Capricorn degree 10 degrees. So you could be inadvertently wanting to see the physical structure in order to expand, but part of it is going to be based on your being able to stay steadfast in your future, steadfast in what you hope and dream for versus, we're looking to the outside world to support that. Now let's go to the 24th, where we will have a full moon in Virgo. And I am going to adjust the time for the full moon, which is 4:30 a.m. Pacific time. Okay, so here we see the sun and the moon are in their it's in its fullest, brightest phase. And I really think that this Virgonian energy, this illumination, is going to bring about where you have inadvertently have a mental thought process that defaults to where you have dutiful energy. And because we see this 3-degree orb between Mercury and then a 4-degree orb, which I will give it because this moves so quickly, to Saturn. And Saturn's been working hard in Pisces to create structure for your creativity, for your sense of self-worth and accomplishment. And here I think that this opposition isn't necessarily challenging in a negative way, but rather might actually affirm that the direction you've been taking and this new line of thought is supported, because information will come through that supports it. And even though we call this an opposition that feels like tense, to me, energetically, I keep wanting to go back to this conjunction here between Mars and Venus, and how this is somehow going to, through my brave action, bring me more resources or material flow. That's the way I want to put that. And we go to the final, to the end here of February. And let's go back to 12 p.m. Okay, and we do see here the sun is conjunct exact on this day with Saturn, and Mercury has made its exact conjunction. So this is very powerful to me because this feels as if it illuminates historic patterns. It is not about judging yourself, and it's not about trying to exterminate those feelings or exterminate that way of being. It's about capitalizing on it. It's about allowing the privilege of that disruption, or that what you may deem as negative initially is actually positive because it's given you a resource that you were otherwise unaware of. I want to just quickly jump over to the 29th because we don't usually have a leap day. And this is where we, I think is, again, this, we're still feeling this influence here of Mercury, the sun, and Saturn being in conjunction. But I also kind of feel like the growing, with Jupiter being so expansive, with Jupiter representing wealth and publishing and commerce and all sorts of things that bring what we consider good tidings. This trine that it's making over here to these the sextile that it's making to these 3 planets feels as if some sort of belief has expanded. I have suddenly had some sort of epiphany that I think was started over here in that Aquarian energy. And now I'm really starting to allow myself the privilege of maybe even implementing meditations before I start my creative endeavors, or before I start sending out those resumes, or before I start whatever I want to birth for myself out into the world. So I think it's going to be a very powerful year, 2024. And I also want to say for my Geminis that, throughout history, there have always been people who have been oppressed and limited and impoverished. And there have always been people who have thrived and blossomed. And not always were they people who were predisposed to wealth. Oftentimes you'd find that they were little pockets of people who seem to beat the odds. So as we stand in alignment with our own thought process, and we're gentle with the ebb and the flow of our fears and our faith, then we become more powerful co-creators with the universe that then allows us to represent the possibilities. And those possibilities are set on a platform of our thoughts are things. All right, that's it for me for February 2024. Please join me on Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. Pacific time, where we do angel readings and get their advice for traversing the week ahead's transits. And if you'd like to get a personal reading from me, either an angel reading or an astrology reading, my information is below in the description. Just reach out to me and I'll send you all the pertinent information. All right, Gemini, we'll see you soon. Have a wonderful 2024.